Week 6 preview. Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Lonnie Z, and this is FaZe Fantasy Live. Along with me for this ride is my boy, Jake Hansen, and we're going to be previewing Week 6 games. What's up, Jake? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Lonnie. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Well, the first game on the slate is the Vikings and the Bears. Now, we all know Jefferson's out. News came out today that he is going to be out probably more like 6 weeks than just 4 to 6 weeks, probably more like 6 weeks, and maybe he might not even play. So the rest of the year, who knows? But in this game, this is a very interesting game. Both of them are 1-4. The key players here for Vikings, I guess, that really benefit from Jefferson's absence would be TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. They need to get that running game going, but I think you can really run out Addison, Hawkinson in this particular game. And on the flip side with the Bears, people are saying that Justin Fields is going to have a monster game, that he's supposed to have a really good game. He's one of the most favorite on Fanduel this week. And also DJ Moore is they're really, connecting, and to look out for Cole Kmet. What are you seeing on this game?
Yeah, I'm seeing that it could be a big fantasy game for the Bears, and I see it for a couple players on the Vikings also. Both defenses aren't too strong. They give up a lot of big plays. It seems like the Vikings are a little bit stronger, it seems, on defense. Yeah, I see a big game for Fields. A Vikings defense is ranked 25th for the pass. DJ Moore, you just got to keep taking him until he's not doing it no more, And Justin Fields, he's been on a roll the last 2 games. And I like Cole Kmet also. I think those 3 guys you can't go wrong with this week. And even if if you want to take a flyer on Foreman, take a chance. That's up to you, big time. That's up to you. If you want to go low and just take a chance, because sometimes that will win you something. And then on the Viking side, Kirk Cousins, he's not going to have his big target out there, but I can see Madison getting a lot of targets, and I can see Hawkinson getting a lot of targets. And then Madison, he might do all right, but if you're going to go with any Vikings, I would go with Hawkinson and Addison for this game.
Yeah, and Madison on ESPN, they have him projected as like about 18 points. So they're thinking he's going to do okay. Yep. And everyone knows that Roschon Johnson is out it's still in concussion protocol. He didn't get out of it. So got to wait another week for him. And so Devonta Foreman. I like the Vikings in this game. I think they're going to get the Bears still. I think their defense is a little better than we think, but it is on the road. So that's going to be you know what? No, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go Bears, go against my Vikings, because this kind of game the Vikings lose. Who do you like?
Yeah, I hate to go against your team, but I agree with you, I think, with this week. I think just not having JJ there for the first game is going to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. All right, our next game on the slate is Baltimore and Tennessee. Now, Baltimore and Tennessee, very, very they kind of, I don't know, man. They kind of remind me of each other a little bit. Just kind of mid-range teams, nothing flashy. Right when we think Lamar is going to start, being Lamar, he's not. Tennessee, right when we hype their defense up, against the run, they give up a huge run game last week. And so Tennessee's 2-3. Baltimore is 3-2. Lamar should have a decent game here. And I'm hearing a lot of people say that Zay Flowers, this is his week to break out, because Tennessee's defense against the pass or against receivers isn't so good, but they're really, really stout against the run. And the Ravens running game is just a mess. I mean, you don't know who to go with, Gus Edwards, or do you go with, Justice Hill, or do you just say Lamar? I kind of fading most of this game this weekend in FanDuel and DraftKings. I'm really not liking many of these players here, but obviously if you have them in your year-round leagues, you're going to run Lamar out there. You're going to run Flowers out there. Derrick Henry could have a good game. He can have a good game this week. You definitely running him out there. and D Hop is starting to warm up a little bit. It seems like I think I would be okay with D Hop. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm thinking that Baltimore is just not consistent right now. Gus Edwards ain't the Gus Edwards from 2 years ago. He doesn't have the power like he did a couple years ago when he came in, and it's just I think Lamar thinks he has to do a lot by himself right now, so he's having a lot of issues. Like last week he had some good passes, and the receivers just dropped them. They're just dropped. I mean, they did not help that guy out at all last week. And I think maybe Lamar, he might have to put it in his hands and just. I mean, he might think too much this week. And Tennessee's just a tricky defense. I mean, they've been just up and. I mean, their running defense been good until last week. The Colts ran all over them. Zach Moss ran all over them. But yeah, you know what? To be honest, there's not really anybody I like for this game for both sides. I mean, like you said,
Maybe Andrews. You think
Mark
Andrews?
Andrews. I like
Maybe.
Mark Andrews. I mean, you could always stick with Mark Andrews. You always, I mean, you have him on your team, stick him. But like if we're talking about DFS, Mark Andrews, but like you said, Lamar, I wouldn't touch. Right? I just, you know what I mean? It's like last week he played the weak Pittsburgh defense, and it just didn't. You know what I mean? It didn't happen. And then on the Titans side, a D Hop and all that, but Baltimore's defense is still okay. I mean, they're still a good defense.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one, but out of both those teams, I like Lamar. I like not Lamar. I like Mark Andrews, and I think Baltimore's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's going to win it too. They are on the road in Tennessee, but I like them to get out of it. Whoa, wait a minute. My bad. They are not on the road.
They're,
They are well. They are on the road. They're in London.
yeah.
So this is the London
Yeah.
game. So there's no real home field. That kind of changes everything. Who knows? It could be a crapshoot. I still like Baltimore. I'll take Baltimore in that one too. The next game on the slate is Washington and Atlanta. These two teams are kind of, I don't know. I don't know what Atlanta Falcon team I'm going to see. I don't know if they're going to be the pass heavy one that we saw last week that really worked well with all their weapons, or if they're going to try and get both their running backs 20 carries each. I don't know. And with Washington, I just don't think they're that good. I think their defense is dirty. That their front four is dirty, and those two, ends are dirty. They're going to get after you, but I don't think they're that great, man. Robinson hasn't impressed me this year, and this stout defense. We really thought that Atlanta's defense last week they made believers of us. They have a stout run defense. They really do. So I don't see Robinson getting free or getting too loose in this one. We'll see if Ritter could build off his last game. But from a fantasy perspective, I probably would just be with Bijan. I'd be okay. I know if you have him, you're gonna have to play Bijan. Terry McLaurin, man, has just not been getting it done. And I don't know if it's Sam Howell and him just can't get on the same page or what. Jonnu Smith has been the emerging one, but what I'm hearing and what I'm thinking too is we haven't seen a touchdown out of Kyle Pitts yet. We need to see a touchdown out of Kyle Pitts. Now, if you're playing daily, it's kind of hard to go and check out Kyle Pitts, and put him in your daily lineup for whether it's DraftKings or Fanduel. But there's not a whole lot of nothing very exciting about this game. I like Atlanta to win at home. Ritter still has not lost a home game. So, I like Atlanta to win this at home. And as far as fantasy is concerned, Bijan is about the only thing I'd feel comfortable with. And even on that, on the daily, I'm not sure if I'm going to go with Bijan either. He's got a high price tag. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, for DFS, I don't see that much firepower here either. You have these guys in your lineup. You have Robertson, or if you need to play him, or you need to play Bijan or Kyle Pitts, then I would play him. But for like DFS, I don't really see any. I don't see any firepower here at all. To be honest, I don't see nothing like that. And like you said, what Atlanta team is going to show up? What Washington team is going to show up? What Commanders team is going
That's
to show
true.
up? Like one week they look good against Philly, and another week they play Chicago and they get killed. It's like who's going to show up? And Atlanta's defense, you're right. I mean, they're real spunky right now, man. I mean, they're a spunky defense. They've been doing all right, with Bates coming over from Cincinnati. He got that defense rolling. So, there's not really anything I can see, I mean, if you want to put Robinson Jr. out there and see what he could do with Atlanta and McLaren and how hopefully they could get going. But if anybody, I would say Bajan Robinson, just like you said. Bajan is the only one. But you know what? It said it's going to be raining in that game as of right now. The forecast is as of right now, but it's in Atlanta, so it's not. I mean, I don't think it matters.
That doesn't
Yeah,
matter,
so it
right?
doesn't even matter. So, but I am going to go with Washington in this game, though. I think
All right.
Atlanta squeezed one out last week, and I think Washington knows they have to win the game. They have to win this game.
Yeah, like you said, Riverboat Ron is on the hot
Yeah,
seat, and he needs
yeah,
to
they
win.
have to win this.
But I can't go against the streak, man. I got to stick with Ritter. He's never lost a home game. Until he
There
makes
you
me.
Hey.
All right, our next game is Cincinnati and the Seahawks. The Bengals and the Seahawks. It's at Cincinnati. It's in Ohio at the Bengals. I think the Bengals are starting to hit their stride a little bit. The Seahawks are 3-1, and the Bengals are 2-3. But I think the Bengals are starting to. Joe Burrow looked as good as he has all year last week. He looked like the old Joe. And I know they're playing against the Cardinals, so people are going to be like, "Yeah, they're playing against the Cardinals." Just how he looked, though, his physical appearance, getting rid of the ball, you know, his connection to Jamar Chase, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Jamar was pissed after week 5, after week 4, and then he gets, all these targets and 170 something or whatever he did crazy numbers. I think Cincinnati is starting to do what they do. They start putting together runs. I think they're in the beginning of a run. I don't see this game being very close. You could run Joe out there. Joe Burrow on FanDuel, he's only $7,500, and that's a 21st ranked defense against the position that he's playing against in Seattle. So if $7,500, that's pretty cheap for a quarterback with his caliber, and if you could stack him, I don't know if I would play him on FanDuel, but that's what he is. If you have him in your league, you're going to play Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon, I'm kind of fading Mixon. I've been fading him all year, but because he just hasn't done much. I do like Jamar Chase, so I always like Jamar Chase, but he's very expensive, as you well know. Jamar Chase is the second receiver on FanDuel right now at 9,300. That's a lot. That's a lot. But so from a fantasy perspective, if you want to get in this game, it's going to cost you a lot. It really is. On the other side, Kenneth Walker, we say he's a touchdown magnet. I like Kenneth Walker. I don't like Geno Smith. I don't like DK Metcalf either. Even though he's due, DK is due. But I like Cincinnati to win this game. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, on the Seattle side, Kenneth Walker, DFS, redraft leagues. Kenneth Walker. I mean, he's 8,400 on FanDuel, but Cincinnati's rank is 18th for run, and yeah, for the receivers, it's tricky for Seattle. They're having a tough. The Bengals haven't been playing too bad on defense wise, and like you said, DK Metcalf hasn't been really got going yet, and the same with Tyler Lockett. I think he had one good game this year, but yeah, the Seattle side, I think the Bengals defense is going to do good this week. I think they're going to hold Seattle pretty well. I see Kenneth Walker getting his, but I don't see Geno Smith going off or anything like that. And Cincinnati, I think, like you said, I think Joe Burrow and Chase is going to keep rolling. I mean, they're going to keep rolling. I know Seattle has a good defense. I mean, they have some good fast guys on their defense, and they get to the ball quick too. So, but I like Burrow this week. I like Chase this week. Yeah, Joe Mixon, I'm still, he's been up and down. He hasn't been really, what we've been thinking, right? But I like Joe Burrow even for FanDuel this week. And like you said, it's going to be an expensive one if you go Joe
Yeah.
and a Chase because that's an expensive one for sure. So, but I like Cincinnati to
Yeah,
win this game
and
also.
T. Higgins, he was he had a full practice session,
Full
and
practice.
so he's trending towards playing. And if he plays, that's really good for Cincinnati and for T owners.
Yeah.
For all you T owners out there,
You know,
he's
yeah.
7,000 on
Yeah.
FanDuel. DK Metcalf,
And good for Burrow.
and that is good for Burrow. DK Metcalf is 7,500. I probably, if I had to take if I was looking for a cheap wide receiver, I'd probably, Tyler Lockett from this game. Tyler Lockett's only 6,600. And then if you went down to Jackson Smith and GB, he's only 4,800. This kid is due. He's done nothing. We'll see. But Seattle, Cincinnati is 10th against the position. So they're pretty, they're top 10 defense against that position. I got Cincinnati in that game. All right. So let's go on to the next game. It is Indianapolis and Jacksonville. It seems like these two teams always play each other tough. It really does. Richardson's out. So you have Mullet Man, Minshew. He's going to be starting. We'd already talked about that's probably going to help Pittman out and Downs out. Zach Moss, I read something that was saying Jonathan Taylor, his role's increasing. And you figure they re-signed him and they gave him a buttload of money, bro. And they're going ready to start feeding this man the rock again. So for all you Zach Moss owners, I'm sorry, but he ain't going to be cashing for you like he was before because the big boy's back and they're going to have to feed this dog. That being said, I don't know if I'm playing Jonathan Taylor this week. In my year-round league, I am. But in FanDuel, I'm not sure if I'm playing Jonathan Taylor, man. Jonathan Taylor in FanDuel is, man, hey, but bro, this is the only time you're gonna get Jonathan Taylor at 6,500. Wait, yeah, let me rewind what I just said, bro. I think I'm
That's a
playing
chance.
Jonathan Taylor
That's a chance.
on daily. Yeah, bro. I think Jonathan Taylor. You got to look at him in daily from this game.
I was waiting. I was waiting till you got to me because I was going for it.
I like Michael Pittman. You really could run a couple of Colts out there in this game. You could run Taylor and Pittman and really still have enough room on your roster to build around them like a big fat team. As far as the game's concerned, and on the other side, I'm expecting something out of Calvin Ridley this week. I think he needs to start heating up a little bit. I do like Christian Kirk and ETN. ETN's been he's been real serviceable. There's not many complaints about him. This is the 20th ranked defense against the run that they're going against. So this is not a bad play if you play ETN at 7,700 in FanDuel. Not a bad play at all. And then from the quarterback's perspective, a lot of people like Lawrence this week. And the reason they like Lawrence is because 23rd against the position. That's what Indianapolis is. And you were saying even last week, they give up a lot of plays to wide receivers. Indianapolis does. So all that being said, though, I think Jonathan Taylor has his breakout week. I think he has a good week. And I look for Indianapolis to just keep it going, man, and win this week. What's your take on it?
Yeah, John Taylor, he's getting the rock. They're saying that, just like Robert Saleh said to Brees Hall, we're going to start giving the carries. They said that about Jonathan Taylor, so we'll see what happens, and that's what I was going to say, 6,500. And I made a lineup, and I made it, I think I did like a high lineup. I did high, like a Burrow, and I did a Chase, and I was just doing high guys, and I was looking at the end like, man, I got no money left. And I looked at a running back. I was like, man, John Taylor, 6,500. I was like, oh, I'll throw him in. Just take a chance. I mean, that's a chance that you have to take.
Right.
Chance you have to take, Yeah, I'm not liking it too much on the Colts side other than Taylor and Pittman Jr., with Minshew and stuff. But it's a tough game for me right now with a Minshew coming in, but I know who looked good. There's one guy that looked good when Minshew came in. And you didn't mention it, Josh Downs. The guy went off when Minshew came in last week. So he's 5,600.
Wow.
For FanDuel.
That's a bargain.
For FanDuel, like I would look at out of those three Colts, I would go with Downs first, and then I would probably Pittman, and then I'd probably do Taylor, or other way around with Taylor and Pittman because Taylor's too cheap to pass up, man. I mean, he really is. And
Yeah.
on the and on the Colts side,
No, yeah.
and on the Colts side, I really like Etienne Jr. this week. He's been rolling pretty good. He's averaging 16 points a game right now, and yeah, that's what I was saying. The Colts have been giving up over 20 points a week on opponent receivers right now. So Ridley, Kirk, it's really tough to pick one. Ridley did score over 20 fantasy points the first time they played, but Kirk is actually averaging the same fantasy points a week as Ridley, and that's 11. So they haven't been really topping each other too much. But Kirk has been getting the most targets in the last 3 games. He's getting more than
Yeah.
almost like 10 targets a game. And Trevor Lawrence, like Lonnie said, I think he has a good chance to break out. But out of all those players, I like Etienne Jr. And I say that the Jaguars are going to win.
There's one person neither one of us mentioned, man.
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is getting tons of targets, bro, and he's only $5,500. If you're looking for a tight end, this is a good spot. 17th against the position. That's what Indianapolis is. He gets tons of targets. Evan Ingram's a great deal at $5,500 if you're trying to build your lineup and you need a tight end. Next game on the slate is Miami and the Panthers.
Hey, real quick. I'm sorry. Hey, real quick. I want to say something about that last game. I just looked at something. Zach Moss is more money than Jonathan Taylor. So if you guys are listening to this, Jonathan Taylor is, like me and Lottie said, you can't pass this up. You can't pass it up.
You cannot. You cannot pass. Trust me, Zach Moss is not gonna outperform Taylor in this game. I know he's been great. He really, really has, and he's gonna still have a role, but they're gonna feed Jonathan Taylor. The coach, like you said, they've already come out and said, look, we're gonna no pitch count. It's time to roll with this guy. And I expect to see him getting the ball a lot and breaking some runs off.
And Jim Irsay is not going to waste his money. He is not wasting that money. Trust me, that boy. He's having a glass of whiskey on
right,
his
right, exactly.
on his sobriety.
Exactly. Man, okay, so when we did the Thursday night game, there was a stat that I chuckled at, and that stat was 15%. Denver had 15% chance to win against the Chiefs. Well, here's 12.2%. The Panthers have 12.2% chance to beat these Dolphins. Man, these Dolphins are just rolling too heavy, bro. They're just too heavy on offense. You can't mess with these guys. I mean, when their running backs are like top 5 running backs, fantasy running backs. That's stupid. I've never seen that, bro. I don't think I've ever seen that. 2 top 5 fantasy running backs on the same team come from the same backfield. Bro. So, and we know Achane is out, but Mostert, man, has been really good this year. Surprisingly good. And I think it has to do with Mike McDaniel's offensive scheme. He gets people loose, bro. He really, really does. Tyreek is, you can't miss with Tyreek. If you stack, I'll say it again this week, if you stack Tua with Tyreek or Waddle, you're going to be doing okay. Tua is 8,300. He is moving up there, so his cost is rising. But on the other side, I know Tyreek, I know that, but I'm going to go back to what we said last week. Waddle is due, man. Keep betting on Waddle. He's due. He's getting the targets. Bet on Waddle. He's only 6,800. You stack him and Tua, and then you could even throw Mostert in this game at 8,500. That's going to be a tight stack right there. You're going to be looking in other areas for stuff. But if you just started with even Tua and Waddle, but either way, you got to get Waddle in your lineup this week, I think, on that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, fade, except for maybe Thielen. Thielen's cost at wide receiver on Fanduel is 7,400. So he's not cheap, but he gets a lot of targets, and someone from that side's got to do something. I got Captain Obvious. I got Miami in this one. What about you?
Yeah, on the Panthers side, I think Thielen's the only one you could probably go at this week. I know Miles Sanders is out. You know, you could if you need a cheap flex player, you could go over Chuba Hubbard. Not saying that's going to work, but just like we talked about last
Yeah.
week when they played the Giants, we said, I don't know about taking Breda if Miami goes up so much, and I mean we've seen how that what happened there. So Miami's defense is ranked 19th or 19th on the run. So, Chuba Hubbard, he could get something maybe in the first half, but I wouldn't. Thielen's the only one I would go for that game for the Panthers side, and on Miami side. Ooh, it's an expensive lineup this week. It's an expensive lineup, boys. Like Lonnie said, if you're
It
going to
is.
stack, you might have to get a Chuba Hubbard because I mean you do Tyreek Hill, Mostert, and Tua, man. That's half your money right there. That is half your money almost. That is almost half your money if
Right.
you're doing 60,000 or that's almost so. Um, Yeah, Waddle, he's at 6,800 this week, and Waddle's due, big time due. I mean, it's a 14-point spread this game. I think the Panthers' passing defense ain't that bad though. They're eighth. They're not bad. They're
Yeah.
not too bad. They have some good players on defense. Burns, they have some players, but
Yeah, but
no,
they ain't
no, no,
seen
no, no,
nothing
no,
like
no,
this.
no, no. You're right, but I'm just saying I'm not gonna. Tyreek Hill's gonna get his.
Yeah,
And,
for
but
sure.
I could see like a Tua Hill. Like I know you said Waddle, but like I could see Tua Hill package. Moster, I like him, but man, I'm afraid of Moster this week. I don't know why. I don't know why I am. Uh,
Think it's time to get
no, I
hurt?
mean,
He
I
always
mean,
gets
a
hurt.
31st ranked rushing defense is them. I just have a hard time thinking about it because Achan's out, so now it's going to be just straight Mostert, and it was for the first couple of games for Mostert, anyways, and he did good. But I just have a bad feeling about it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to put him in a Fanduel lineup because I still might, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, Miami's going to win this game for me. But I mean, you can't go wrong with putting Hill, Mostert, Tua, and Waddle.
Yep. I agree. I agree. All right, so on to the next game. It is Cleveland and San Francisco. The Niners are headed off to Ohio. The weather there, it can always get bad when it says it's like 55 degrees and probably rainy. That's what it says game time weather.
14 miles per hour, 50 degrees, light rain is projected for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, 14 miles an hour wind. That's pretty heavy, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I still like Purdy. I'm not saying for FanDuel or anything like that. I just like Purdy as a player. Um, I like McCaffrey. McCaffrey's expensive, very expensive. If you're looking at FanDuel, he is $10,300. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. I wouldn't play him against the fifth rated run defense in the league at that price. Even though he probably would get a touchdown, I still would not do it. So I would fade Christian McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk is 7,700, but this Cleveland defense, man, is real. They're number one against receivers. And they are not, Debo would be the better play of the two at 7,200 because they use him so in such different
Kittle.
ways. He can run the ball and, sweeps and jet sweeps, things like that. But this is good. This might be a tough game. And I know you were a little worried about this game. You saw it on the calendar last week and you're like, yeah, the 49ers beat Dallas, but the 49ers might lose next week against Cleveland. And so I don't think the 49ers are going to lose. I think the Niners win this. They know how to play smash mouth too. See, the Niners on a finesse team. So I think their streak keeps rolling. On the other side, they're going to start
PJ Walker.
Yes, they're going to start PJ Walker. Last week they started the rookie, and this week they're poor guy he got thrust into it.
Imagine starting this week against the
Yeah,
Niners. That would be
that's not at least PJ Walker's a vet. He knows his way around a field, and so he gives them a better chance. I don't think Jerome Ford's the answer. I never thought he was, and he's not. I think people got duped into thinking they heard a lot of hype in that game against Pittsburgh. He looked really good, but he has not looked good since then. Um, And then Amari Cooper is probably the only one if you're looking at anything, but he's 6,600. He's not a bad play, but with PJ Walker, that's going to be a tough one. I'm kind of fading this whole game. I like the Niners to win, but fantasy and daily fantasy, we're talking more daily fantasy right now than anything else. If you're in your year-long leagues, you know you have to run these guys out there. If you have McCaffrey, you're playing him. If you have Cooper, you're playing him. Because you don't have anyone better, better chance. So you still run those guys out there. But if you're putting money on the line, you're doing daily fantasy, I'm fading this game pretty much on both sides. What's your take?
Yeah, with Deshaun Watson out, it's going to be a tough time for Cooper and Ford to get going and more and all that with PJ Walker. I think it's going to be a smash mouth game, just defense all game long for both teams. You could actually probably take Cleveland's defense, and you can take the Niners defense. They have Randy Gregory. He's going to be out there this week, and you're going to have a quarterback that's not a starter, and those boys are going to be licking their chops. And
Yeah.
and like I said last week, I ain't afraid to say it. I mean, I rarely have I think this is a trap game for the 49ers. I really do. They win, okay, then I'll eat. I mean, I'm not trying to say that they're going to lose, so there's no crow to eat. But
Yeah.
I can see this as a trap game. Their starting quarterbacks out. You have a third string quarterback starting. I just see like a defensive game. On Cleveland's side, there's nobody I would start for DFS. On the Niners side, there's two players that I would probably look at. One is McCaffrey. You could, but for that price, that's going to be tough against their number one overall defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, like Lonnie said, probably Debo. Like Debo's going to get a lot of different looks this week, and
Yep.
Purdy, I don't see him having too big, but he's going to do a lot of check downs and all that. But I think the Niners will win this game. I think their defense is going to have a big game, but I also see it just that it could easily go the other way. But I'm picking the Niners this game.
Yeah. 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 It's going to be a tough one, I think, just the elements and all that. But like I said, I think the Niners, they still win dirty games. So I like them too. Next game, Houston is New Orleans is at Houston. And so this could be a pretty interesting daily fantasy game. It really could. You have CJ Stroud, who's only 6,900. That's pretty cheap for a starting quarterback of his caliber. And then there's Derek Carr at 6,600. I wouldn't mess with Derek Carr. On the running back side, you have Alvin Kamara. I like Alvin Kamara in this game because Houston's run defense is not that good, man. It's like it's 26th in the league against the position, and Kamara's $7,500. Now I'm not mad at that. That's kind of a good mid level, and he has a high ceiling. He still has not had that breakout game yet. Dameon Pierce, I'd fade Dameon Pierce because New Orleans defense is fourth against the position. So Dameon Pierce is only $5,900 though. Bro, that's pretty cheap. I mean, that's real cheap for someone like a Dameon Pierce. So I don't know. That might make me scratch my head. And if I'm like having to scrape the barrel and look for a $5,000 player, I may go with Dameon Pierce. On the wide receiver side, Chris Olave's got to break out. Derek Carr's shoulder is doing better. He should be getting a little better. But this Houston defense is pretty good against wide receivers, man. They're third against the position in the league. So I'm not sure if I'm banking on Olave to break out at 7,100. It's not a bad price, but I'm not sure if I'm touching Olave. And I still do like Nico Collins. Tank Dell is questionable with a concussion. I don't know if he got out of the protocol yet or not, but he had limited practices so far this year, but he's still, listed as questionable. What have you heard on Tank, man? Is he playing or not?
I was looking as you're talking because I didn't hear nothing this morning. They said they didn't really say anything that he was in protocol, but I haven't heard really anything too much. Let me see. Tank Dell, he's in concussion protocol. He was limited practice yesterday. He was limited, so
yeah. So hopefully he'll play. And then Michael Thomas has looked good this year, man. He's finally kind of healthy. And of course, he's not the great Michael Thomas of 4 years ago, but he's looking good, pretty solid. He's not a bad play at that price.
Yeah.
5,900. That's not a bad price for a Michael Thomas, but against this defense, that's a tight defense. To play against.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Schultz. New Orleans plays really tight against tight ends, man. They're second against the position. So in this game, I like New Orleans to win, and I don't know how much I really am loving any of these players in daily. Maybe Kamara would be one, and maybe Nico Collins might be a one, but uh, that's about it. Especially if they have Lattimore, bro, on Nico, that could be tough. So, what's your take on this game?
So I think it's an unpredictable game. I really do. Don't you think a little bit like
Yeah,
it's a hard one to say, because you see the Saints, they come out and you got the fake Derek Carr. Like, come on, bro. Like do something. Like, man, there's no flashiness right now. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry to
right.
say, there's no flash, man. It's like just boring. It's like watching Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, I said it. It's just like watching. Derek Carr is just boring, man. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you like that in bed, homie? Because come on, do something, bro. Do something. Like, let's go, man. Make this game like Seattle is the most boringest team in the NFL right now. Right now. And I straight up see. The Saints. The
The
Saints.
Saints.
I'm sorry, Seattle. The Saints are the most boringest team right now. Like every week, Lonnie, and you know it. Every time we come up to this Saints game, it's like, Derek Carr had 140 yards and I don't know, a
Right.
pick and a touchdown. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what happened. Whatever. Like, come on, man. Do something. And it's unpredictable. But I think Houston's defense is going to step up this week. I really do. I have a feeling that Houston's defense, because I have Houston's defense, and
Mhm.
I'm between it. I got the Browns defense. I'm like, oh man, the Browns could do something, but I just have a feeling for Houston this year. I really do, man. For this week, I really do. Kamara, yeah, because Houston's one of the worst rushing defense, but like Olave and Michael Thomas, but they haven't, Olave hasn't really done nothing since Carr got hurt, and Carr's still hurt. He's still hurt. And
Yeah.
that's one thing, bro. That dude, he's not afraid. He's not scared. He'll play hurt. It's like,
Yep.
you got Deshaun Watson with the same injury, with the contusion, and this dude got a sprained joint and he's still playing. He's only
Yeah.
throwing barely for a couple hundred yards or whatever, but, you could tell the drop. But on the Houston side, I don't like Pierce this week. Pierce is just, he's one of them. Don't play him until he shows you something. CJ, I have CJ, and I think, I can see CJ doing good this week with Nico Collins. Adele's going to be a questionable play this week. So that's pretty much it. So I think Houston's going to win this game, though.
All right. Gotcha. Let's roll through these next ones because they're, the Raiders are at home against the Patriots. Talk about a boring team. That's the Patriots. I don't like anyone on offense from the Patriots in this game in daily. Even in my regular league, I'd be worried about any Patriot I have to run out there on an offensive basis. From the Raiders, Jacobs is still making me nervous. I need to see something out of him. Like you always say, show me something, then I'll put some money in the daily on you. Devontae Adams, you can always count on Devontae Adams. I'm sure that he's kind of expensive this week. He's 8,300. That's not that bad for Devontae Adams against this defense. So but I don't know who to pick in this game though. I just don't. They're both they're both not very good teams. But I'm gonna take the home. I'm gonna go with another one of your things. I'll take the home team. I'll just take the home team.
Home team. Take your home team.
So I like the Raiders, and probably the only one I'm looking at fantasy wise is Devontae Adams at 8,300 and Fanduel. What's your take?
Yeah, last week we said let's see who the Patriots play. Take their defense. I don't know about this week though. I don't know about the Raiders defense. They're not that strong to say, okay, we'll pick the Raiders defense against New England because it's New England. And I can see Mac Jones doing a little better this week. This is one of their games. It's like Cincinnati playing the Cardinals. Like that was their game to get started. I don't think it's like that, but I can see New England doing a little better. Like a Stevenson. It's a 17th ranked defense for running. I can see Stevenson breaking out a little bit. He's 6,200 this week. You could take a chance. The Raiders are not that great for the run, but Any other
That's
than
true.
that, no, I wouldn't touch anybody other than Stevenson, to be honest with you. And then on the Raiders side, Adams, Jacobs, I would, New England's defense is still good, but I would go with Adams on that side. And Jacoby Myers, that's the guy I would go with against his old team. I would go for Jacoby Myers at $6,700, and I have the home team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I like Jacoby too. I forgot all about Jacoby. I don't know how, but 6,700. I like that even more. Detroit and Tampa Bay, two teams that are actually kind of, Detroit's 3-1. I mean, Detroit's 4-1. Tampa Bay's 3-1 because they had a bye last week, so they're 3-1. There's a bunch of players on offense that you can look at in this game from Detroit for sure. You have to look at Laporta. He's questionable though with his calf. Now he should play, but he has a calf injury. He's 6,800. That's a lot of money at a tight end. He's getting up there to the big money boys. Price, Laporta, Cade Otton. But I like just Detroit's moxie this year, man. I just like them. I like how they play. Jared Goff, he's 7,800. I don't know if I'm going Jared Goff in daily this week. St. Brown does not have a designation, so he's healthy, ready to go. He's also 7,800. He's always a good play. Against his defense, I think he's a good play. At that price, I think he's a good play. Mike Evans is 7,500, 7,600. He's a good play. But I do like Detroit in this game. I know Baker's had a pretty good year. I like Montgomery, especially now that Jahmyr Gibbs is just not getting anything. Montgomery's getting everything. I like Montgomery against this defense. I like Detroit. What's your take?
Yeah, Tampa Bay, they've been shocking everybody this year. I mean, they look good, Uh, I just think Detroit might be a little bit more powerful, for them this week. But like I said, Mike Evans is a must play. Rashad White still hasn't showed anything yet, and they're playing a spunky defense. I mean, this defense is a good defense, man. I mean, they're a good team. I mean, they might not be like a stout defense, but they have some players that make big plays for sure. And like if you pick anybody off the Buccaneers, I would say Mike Evans. You could look at Chris Godwin. He's been doing okay.
He might be a sneaky play this week, man.
Yeah, Chris God.
6,300. He's
Yep,
kind of due, huh?
yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
like Godwin. I like Godwin.
The rushing defense for Tampa Bay is ninth. So Montgomery, though, he's they're still going to run him out there. Gibbs is out with the injury still. He's out. They already said it. So yeah, you got to go with
Yep.
Montgomery. St. Brown, you got to go with him. They said he's going to play. And Goff, I don't think I would touch Goff this week. I agree with you, Lonnie. Like I would stay away from him. But Montgomery, St. Brown, and Laporta. If Laporta's healthy, he was limited practice yesterday. But I am going to go with the Lions to win this game.
Next game is the Cardinals and the Rams. Matt Stafford, man, is having a great year. He really is. And now that Cooper Kupp's back, it changes, I think, everything. Only thing Matt's been missing is getting the touchdowns. His passing yards, everything has been great, but he only has 5 touchdowns on 5 interceptions. That's about to change this week. Cooper Kupp's back in town. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's going to start scoring touchdowns, bro. That's what he does, bro. He catches the ball and he gets it in the end zone, and that's his favorite target. I like LA in this game to win. I think they're starting to get their stuff back. The Cardinals have played teams tough all year, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I like LA in this game. So James Conner's on the IR. So, that leaves it open to, we just talked about this last week. Everyone was going out getting DeMarcado, and then Ingram was activated, and Ingram sits on top of him in the depth chart. But I can't trust either one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust either one of them. I like Karen Williams in this game. Marquise Brown has an illness, but he's expected to play. He has an illness. Puka. I like Puka, man. You could go out, you could run Puka out there and not have a big issue with that. So Cooper Cup is 8,700, which is cheap for Cooper Cup on FanDuel. It's still expensive, but for Cooper Cup, it's cheap because they're going up against the 26th ranked pass defense against that position. Cooper Cup should feast. Nakua is the better bargain at 7,900. That's still expensive, but he's a better bargain. I like Cooper Cup. Even matter of fact, I have a lineup with Cooper Cup in it and Diggs because I just like Cup this week. I like the Rams to win this game. What do you think?
The only player I see picking for the Cardinals is Marquise Hollywood Brown. And if you need a tight end, I would go with Ertz, but not DFS. But for Marquise Brown, he's the only one I would pick for the Cardinals side. And even DFS, maybe 7,000. I mean, he's been averaging 12 points, but he's one of those players that's just a big player. I mean, he'll just boom 80 yards or 60 yards, just go. And the Rams, they're fifth on the 15th on the pass. So, Marquise Brown's the only one for the Cardinals side. For the Rams side, you could do a little baby stack. You could do a little baby stack with the Rams this week. You could do a Stafford, and you could do Nakua, and you could do Cup. Really, I mean, because both those guys got over 100 yards last week, so you could actually do Stafford, Puka, and Cup this week.
Stafford's
Or
only
if you don't wanna
7,300 too. That's a good price for a quarterback.
And if you don't want to go with a Puka, you could do Stafford, Williams, and Cup. So, I mean, honestly, like I really see the Cardinals starting to struggle.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I said last week, I could see him struggling in LA. I see a big struggle, but that's all. That's pretty much it. That I'm saying. I mean, you can stack them if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Rams to win.
Gotcha. Eagles, Jets should be a good game. Eagles are one of the only 2 undefeated teams in the league. Jalen Hurts is $8,700 on FanDuel. Zach Wilson's only $6,500 on FanDuel. And the Eagles are 26 against that position, against quarterback. If you really wanted to take a flyer and build a massive team and sacrifice the quarterback position because you're looking for a bargain at quarterback, bro, Zach Wilson's not a bad play. He's going up against the 26th ranked defense against that position. So if you're trying to just take a flyer and be like, hey, I'll just take my chances with the quarterback because I'm going to build around him, this would be the game. It sounds crazy because the Eagles are 5-0, but they don't play well against quarterbacks for some reason.
Sam Howell went on for him.
Yeah, and DeAndre Swift, though, I like DeAndre Swift in this game, man, a lot. He's only 7,200, 23rd ranked. The Jets, you think the Jets defense is just, tough defense, but like we said a few weeks ago, man, they're not as tough as we think against the run. Exactly. They're 23rd against the run in the league. That's pretty bad. But I'd still be a little concerned because it seems like they can just turn on when they like that switch is going to hit in a game, like they're just going to shut someone down, So I love me some Breece Hall, but man, that Philly defense is really stout against the run. They're first in the league against the run. And then wide receiver wise, you can always go AJ. Devonta Smith is so due, but this is a tough defense to go against with wide receivers. AJ, you can always go with AJ no matter who he's matchup. You can't match up against AJ. You can always run him out there. But I may fade this game on the receivers end just because of Sauce and those boys over there. Garrett Wilson, though, I don't know, man. He's only 6,300. That's a sneaky FanDuel play right there. 6,300 against the 31st ranked defense at the position. That is, that's not a bad play right there. And then Dallas Goedert is, you can lock him in if you wanted to at 6,200 if you're looking for a tight end going against this defense. They give up a lot of points to tight ends. All that being said, I like Philly. What's your take?
I see a lot of projections that 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 the Jets could win this game. And then so yeah, I see that, So I see that the Jets could win this game. I see like a big projection about it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Um, I see a big game for a Garrett Wilson. Like I see a big game for Garrett Wilson. I really do. It's kind of weird when you talk about Philly not having like a great passing defense, but they don't have like a big, like their safeties and their cornerbacks. They lost a lot of guys last year. Garner Johnson, they lost Epps, and so they got a D line, killer D line, and like you're saying, Brees Hall might, the Russian defense is up there right now. They're number one for Russian defense, but I see him giving Brees Hall the ball, and I see Brees Hall just rolling with it and just doing his thing. And Zach Wilson, I can see a good game with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson can move; he's mobile, and I see him just. I can see him scoring some points against the Philly defense, And on the Philly side, I, I don't know. It's a good defense. They're not as powerful as we thought they would be. They're not a Robert Saleh 49ers defense at all.
Right.
But I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be able to do his thing, as much. But like you said, AJ Brown and Devontae, they might have a quiet night. They might have a quiet night. Swift, he's going against a 22nd rushing defense. I can see Swift having a good game, but I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that the Jets defense is going to do pretty good against Philly.
Yeah.
It's at home, and I just don't know if their offense could keep up with Philly, though. But I think Garrett Wilson's going to have a good game, though. I really do, and I think Brees Hall might be able to slither his way to get a touchdown or something, something like that. So I'm going to go with Jets, baby.
Let's go.
I'm going with them. I got the Jets, man, at home.
No,
they need this game. They win
they
this
do.
game. They win this game. This is big for them. This is big. Their whole attitude, everything's just going to go up, and for the kid too, man, because I feel bad for that kid right now.
Yeah, Wilson.
Yeah, I feel bad for that kid, man.
It'll get him to 500, man, and they'll be right back in the talks. So yeah, I could see that happening. I could see an upset happening. I don't know if I, agree. I do. You could probably convince me. The next game, New York and Buffalo. It is a Sunday night game. There's not much here, bro. There really isn't. I'm not going to spend much time on it. I'm just going to tell you who I like. I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen at 9,800 or whatever his cost is at FanDuel. It's very expensive for Josh Allen. I like the stack with Diggs, and a sneaky play could be Gabe Davis. He's been getting a lot of play. James Cook has been all right. And this New York team's just atrocious. I think Saquon's coming back this week, but I just like Buffalo. I don't like any Bill. I'm sorry. I don't like any Giants in this game at all. Until Saquon shows me something, I'm a fading Saquon too. In year long, of course, you're playing Saquon. In year long leagues and redraft leagues, you're playing Saquon. But for me, if I was doing that Champions game or that single game, I'd probably have Josh Allen and Diggs in there. Maybe sprinkle some Gabe Davis in there. But I like Buffalo just to rail this game. Josh Allen is really, really coming into his own, man. He's averaging over 20-something points per game in fantasy, and he's just really starting to look good. I know they lost in London last week. I get it. They're not going to lose this week. I like the Bills. What's your take?
This game's a 15-point spread. The Giants.
Oh, dang. Hold on. Wait, whoa. Let me. Sorry. 5.1%. That's what this one is. The Giants have 5.1% to win this game, bro. So yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I won't be surprised if Barkley and Waller don't play. I don't see why Dable would run out Waller and Barkley without. I don't know, man. It feels weird right now. They signed Jones to a 3-year contract, and then and then they're awful. They're one of the worst teams in the league. I mean,
Yeah.
they are bad, and
Yeah.
you aren't signing Saquon back. There's no way
No.
you ain't
No.
signing it back. There is nobody on the Giants side. I wouldn't even touch Barkley. I really wouldn't. I mean, with the 15-point spread, there's no way. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. And yeah, Buffalo's going to rail. I mean, this is going to be too bad. It's a night game. Too bad it's a night game because you can't put them in your lineup for the big game. Josh Allen and Diggs and Davis and Cook. I mean, James Cook's he's going to go off tomorrow. I have a feeling he's going to go off. He had -4 points last week. The Giants defense ranked 29th with a run, and they're at home in Buffalo. I think James Cook's going to have a big game. Josh Allen's going to have a big game, and Diggs. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about. Davis,
Yeah.
for your daily fantasy, you got to, keep them all in. Yeah, I think Bill's going to beat him by 2 touchdowns.
I agree. And then the last game, the Monday night game, is the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers. This game has fantasy written all over it. Austin Eckler will be returning. He's $9,000. And, that Dallas defense was really, really humiliated last week. I expect a much better showing from them this week. Now, does that mean they're going to shut down this high-powered Charger offense? No, I don't, that not necessarily. But I do like a few players in this game. I like Dak Prescott to bounce back. He's going against the 29th ranked against the position defense. He's only 7,000 on FanDuel. I like Dak to have a bounce back game. I like Pollard to get involved more. 25th ranked defense. This defense is bad. This defense is really bad. This is a bad defense. This is like a get right game to me as far as Dallas is concerned. They are on the road though, but I think Pollard should have a good game. I like Dak in this game. And I tell you what, if I can get any guy in my lineup this week, I'm getting CeeDee Lamb in my lineup because CeeDee Lamb was really pissed off about what happened in San Francisco. And he was making it vocal on the sidelines. And we've seen Jamar Chase said, I'm always open. And he got 20, 30 targets. He didn't get that many targets, but he got a ton of targets. I think we're going to see similar things with CD this week. I like Dallas in this game. I like them to bounce back, get right, get a win. I like CeeDee Lamb on that side. On the other side, you could always go with Keenan Allen. He's almost defense proof when it comes down to it. I would wait on Eckler on the DFS, especially in this game. It's going to be a rough game for him just to come back off an injury and just beat Eckler again. But he catches a lot of balls out of the backfield, and he's still Austin Eckler. Still a great player, almost defense proof himself. You know what I'm saying? And then Herbert, I don't know. I just don't feel that Herbert's going to have a big game this week. I do like Dallas's defense too. I like Dallas in this game. What's your take?
I think if I was Dallas, I probably wouldn't want to play this game this week. The only reason I say that, I see Dak Prescott having a good game. I agree with everything you said, but there's one guy that you forgot about, and I'm not going to say it yet. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is having a big game. Dak Prescott, I might even pick him up this week, and I think the Chargers are going to have a tough time. They're not that powerful against. They're a spread offense, and this is a game that I wouldn't want to be Dallas going to another offense that's totally different than the Niners. They're more powerful in the pass. The Chargers are way more powerful in the pass than the Niners are. And Kellen Moore.
Yeah, the ex offensive
Moore.
coordinator. Yeah.
You don't think he wants to put Dallas to honestly, they did that boy dirty, man.
For
They did that
sure.
boy.
For
They
sure he
did him
does.
dirty. McCarthy is what's McCarthy's offense? Are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
did him dirty, bad. And I have a feeling Kellen Moore, like they were saying about Sean Payton being the coach for the Chargers before he went to Denver and Staley. I have no idea why they kept Staley there. I'm just dumbfounded about it.
Mhm.
The guy just does a lot of stupid mistakes. The Chargers don't make the playoffs. I think Kellen Moore is your head coach for the LA Chargers next year. I really do.
That
I I really
that's
do.
possible.
If their offense keeps doing what they're doing with Eckler back, I mean, boy, Eckler with that offense, those guys are fire. Chargers are fire. So
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, Pollard's going to come out and do good this week. Prescott's going to do good this week. You know, what I mean, I give him respect. Jake Ferguson's going to do good. Just too bad just too bad it's a Monday night game. You know, you really can't make a DFS. It's just that showdown for one game. You know, and Chargers. You know, I can see some struggle there with Herbert and I mean, Keenan Allen's 9,000. Eckler's 9,000. That's a lot of
Yeah.
money against a good defense. But if I'm Dallas, I wouldn't want to, you're going to a powerful offense, man, and you're going against your ex-coach
Yeah.
that's not happy. And that's, they did him dirty, and I think Kellen Moore's going to come out and just fire. I really
Yeah.
do.
You know,
And I take the Chargers this game.
I totally get your argument with that. But I think they were so humiliated against the
Yeah.
Niners. And Kellen Moore definitely should know that defense because he practiced against them every single, day. I think it's going to be a tough one. I like the Cowboys to come out of this one on top. It's going to be a great one. Well, that's the show. That is the week 6 preview. Hopefully you got something good out of it. Go out there tomorrow, make your money, place these bets, get into some FanDuel tournaments, have some fun. I'm Lonnie. He's Jake. We'll catch you on the next one.